So now you're probably wondering, what are the top 4 things? You've possibly watched my previous video, the first one, that I give a little bit of my own story, and you heard the different things I said are important. You're probably wondering, like, okay, what's the priorities? What's the order? All those type of things. So let's talk about kind of those 4 items that are super important for improving your overall health and why it's in that order specifically. So I'm not going to make you wait any longer. We're going to talk about it's sleep, number 1. 2 is stress management. 3 is your diet and nutrition. And 4 is exercise. And I'll get to why it's that order and all that. But before I go any further, don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to share it with someone else who may need it. Alright, so let's dive into this. As I mentioned in the previous video, like a little bit of my own story, I did not start out this way. There's some coaches and trainers who can act like they know everything, or that they've always done this. They don't struggle with these things, blah blah blah. And that's typically just untrue. We all as humans struggle with something. We just may not be willing to admit it. Definitely going to be willing to admit that I didn't have it all figured out, and I still don't think I have it all figured out. But at this current moment, I would say that these 4, in this order, are the important ones you want to focus on when trying to improve your overall physical well-being. Now, these 4 will have immense benefit to the rest of your health, to your emotional, mental, spiritual health as well. So let's dive into kind of why it's in this order. Because before, I definitely thought exercise was the end-all be-all. And then, of course, I kind of came to where I was like, oh, exercise and diet is super important. And then finally realizing that the other pieces of the puzzle mattered. I didn't have the right thought of order before. I used to think it was like exercise, diet, sleep, stress management. Thank goodness I lived longer, realizing that these things, the other things, matter more. So most people, when they enter into improving their health, they typically start with physical fitness. They typically start with exercise. And the reasoning to that, typically just because, like where I came from, where we think, okay, if I just do this exercise, improve my physical fitness, this will improve everything. And a lot of times we get into it for body reasons. A decent amount of us tend to get into fitness or health for losing weight, for gaining weight, for improving your body image, your confidence, and how you look in your own skin and in your clothes. Maybe you can resonate with that. That's what got you into fitness. I know I said the other day, or you'll see this technically as 2 days, one back to back. But as I said before, it was for me sports, but deep down it was this, again, body dysmorphia, confidence issue. It's great for an amazing catalyst. As I think I mentioned in the video before, Sal Stefano said that you get started in fitness and it is a catalyst to improve the rest of your health. You start to really care about the other things. the further and further you get into it. And you learn more, of course, you grow. It is such a great place to learn life lessons. Because in the gym, you're going to fail. No matter what, if you go for it, you actually work on it, you're gonna fail. You're gonna have to face the part of like facing your fear of like, oh, if I fail in front of everybody else, my friends or something, like it's embarrassing or whatever. You have to get over that. You have to face fear. You have to face struggle. You have to face commitment. You have to face all these things that we need to improve and strengthen to work through life. So life lessons can be taught in the gym if you allow it. So I think for a lot of people, you get started there and you'll learn as you go, kind of like me. But I want to do this video to hopefully help those who are wondering, where should I start? What should I do? What's the most important thing to move the needle further? I want you to not make my mistakes. So so if you're already on the journey, cool. Let me use this as a chance to say, hey, are you prioritizing the right things? Are you working on these items? Because like I said, I want to talk like I'm talking to my clients. They come to work out. They come for the fitness part. Because again, we think that's going to move the needle the most. And most definitely, I'm not going to turn them away from it. I'm not going to be, oh, no, don't come to me yet. You need to work on your sleep. No, because I want to help them get there. They need the coach to help them get there. So, if you already started with fitness, great, awesome, keep it up. But now let's work on these other things that are going to help move the needle even more. So, I'll use another analogy. I remember learning also, if you don't know, you just look them up. Sal DiStefano, Mind Pump show, great podcast, great information. He used this analogy, and I liked it because I definitely resonate with this when I'm training clients. I'm going to butcher how he says it, but imagine you have a road blocked by boulders because of an avalanche. And the avalanche, you got all these rocks, boulders, and pebbles, all just blocking the road. And a lot of times what we do is we walk up to that and we go, okay, in order to clear it, in order for me to get past, I got to clear it. So we start moving the small pebbles out of the way. And it's going to take an awful long time to get anywhere if you move the pebbles first. The big boulders are what's in the way that's going to make the biggest impact. These 4 things are going to be your big boulders. Now, I'll definitely use this analogy again, probably with something else, but move those big boulders. Don't worry about the little things first. Those pebbles are probably going to get crushed. I shouldn't even say probably. They will be crushed by these big boulders. Of course, we can move the rocks, kind of like the middle-sized things. We can move those as well. But think of a great way of thinking of it into fitness. What does this have to do with what I'm talking about? A big boulder is, like I said, these 4 things: sleep, diet, stress management, exercise. The little pebbles is like you coming up. Don't get me wrong. Watching the previous video, I thought this was useful using a pebble. Is supplements. People get amped up. What protein powder should I use? Which creatine should I get? Which pill should I take? Supplements. They're the little pebbles. They're not going to make the biggest impact. Move the boulders first. So let's get to that. Why is sleep number 1? I'll go deeper into each of these in upcoming videos. But sleep is number one because it's your biggest recovery, your biggest ability to recover. There's a reason why humans, as we've lived through however long we've been on this earth, as we've evolved, as we've adapted over time. Just thought about the fact that some of y'all are going to get upset that I said evolved or adapted. So we evolved over time and adapted. If it wasn't necessary to sleep, we would have overcome it. We would have figured it out. Because let's think about that. You're sleeping 6 to 9 hours a night. Modern day, you know, got protection pretty well, right? It's not like you're gonna get mauled by a bear at night. Unless you're camping, potentially. But the likability of something attacking you, if you're out in the jungle, you're trying to fight to survive, you're finding a cave to sleep at night, you're pretty vulnerable when you sleep. If you're a soldier at war, you're encamped, you're pretty vulnerable when you sleep. So, it would, if it was possible to evolve past it, we would have figured it out. But we haven't. You look at any animal on the planet, they have a sleep pattern, a sleep routine. Because it's so important. It's your base of recovery. It's the most important piece to recovery. So that your body is able to repair itself and take on the next day. So, in order to face your fears, in order to face your next day task, your next day stresses, your ability to work out again and build muscle is going to require sleep. So sleep is super important. Without it, that workout you did, you're not going to recover from. So that's why it's above exercise in priority. Without it, it's going to be really hard to manage stress. And without it, you're going to have, typically when we have lack of sleep, as it's compounded on top of each other of more time that you lack sleep, you're going to inevitably have more cravings because your body's trying to fight for the ability to recover. So your cravings are going to go up, your hormones are going to go out of whack, everything's just going to get messed up. So sleep is number one. Number two is stress management. So, boy, I wish I knew this a lot sooner. This is everyone's gonna have one of these, if not more of these, that you really struggle with. That is like your kryptonite. Not necessarily like you can overcome it, so not like Superman, but you can overcome it. But it is your nemesis. So stress management is definitely my top one that I struggle with. And it's super important. Like I said, it's number two. So stress management is going to negatively affect your sleep. So it's going to affect the number one. Number one's also going to affect number two. Managing your stress is super important, as most of us probably could think if we thought about like when you're just high stressed, you're anxious, you're worried about something, you're just, everything's being affected. Your body, your mind, everything's being affected by the fact that you're just stressed out your mind. it throws, again, your hormones are going to respond, because that's, and I say hormones because specifying here so I don't sound like one of those people who just throw out the word hormones. And all the hormones are important, but your cortisol is going to go up when you're stressed. There's other times when the cortisol goes up, a natural goes up. Any stressor is going to incur some form of cortisone going up. So even exercise is considered a good stress. So there's good stress and there's bad stress, right? And I do believe there's some gray to that. That's for a later topic, because this is not about stress. This is not the video on stress management. This is just implying why stress management is number 2. So we need to manage our stress so that it doesn't negatively affect everything. Your diet can be negatively affected. Some people, to the effect that their stress response is not to eat. It'd be mine. Like, it negatively affects my desire to even eat. The opposite would be how people will stress eat. They have the opposite response, where they feel the desire to eat something. And normally the stress, regardless of which direction it pushes you in the diet sense, is going to be a negative effect to your diet, because you're going to, if you're going to crave food because of the stress response, you're craving food that is not necessarily the healthiest choices. Like, you're going to be like, okay, I want that donut. I want that thing that's going to make me feel good. Because, again, it's a stress response. Opposite, of course, would not be good, because then you're not going to eat. Even when you need to eat, you're not going to eat. So you have that. Stress also negatively affects your ability and your capacity to exercise. So you're going to have less likability to go, or not necessarily less likability, but less ability to handle the regular workload that you want to put on for that workout, as well as a negative to your ability to handle your daily activities, your job. If you're high stressed, I'll give the analogy where you have the people who want to silo everything, where like work is work, life is like outside of that is life, family, all that stuff. It's all separate. Everything affects everything. So your home life, if you're stressed about whatever's at home, is going to follow you into work. No matter how hard you want to try not to think about it, it is going to set you in a position of either being more intense or less intense. Definitely dive into that more. Let's jump into, because I have arrived at my destination, so let's jump into the next portion, which is number 3, diet, nutrition. Why is diet more important than exercise? Diet can make a bigger impact to that weight loss. Diet can make a bigger impact to maintaining that weight or that goal. So, and then of course, diet can also affect everything else. A proper setup diet and nutrition plan will help you better sleep, will help you feel more energized throughout the day, to handle stress, to handle other activities and tasks, be more productive. A well-planned diet is very important for so many aspects of our health. So prioritizing your diet is most definitely an important piece to the puzzle. Some will be like, oh, I just want to intuitively eat. Well, a lot of times, for most people, you're going to need to really be more studious about it at the beginning until you learn to figure out what your body needs throughout different times of your life. And there's going to be times when you're going to need to reel things in even more, like when you're later on to do a check-in and then you go back out. And I kind of later on when I do the nutrition piece, I want to give this 80-20 thought process where you're 80% on point, 20% grace. And it's really important to allow yourself to have that grace so that you're not, like, you want to enjoy life, but you also want to live quality life. And then the final piece is exercise. Super important, of course. Like I said, not as important as the other three, but definitely really important. Because if we want to remain active and we want to be able to do the things that we love to do and enjoy for the rest of our life and help out the people that we're trying to help out, it's going to be important to exercise and take care of your body. No, I remember I had a family member who said that he wasn't worried about the diet or exercise because, he's going to die when he dies. And yeah, you may not be able to change the time period of like that. As a lot of people get fixated on this longevity. I want to live as long as possible. You may not be able to necessarily change that, but you can positively affect and change how quality of your life is. I personally want to live a life that is going to be of quality. I haven't lived always a life of quality. I don't think anyone can say that, but you want to be able to live as much of a quality of life to enjoy how much time you have on this earth. So with that being said, that's your 4 important things. Stay tuned and pay attention for the drop of the next ones coming out with specific on sleep and then stress management, diet, and then exercise. Till next time, y'all, keep rocking out that quality life.